Covered in dried blood, the alien war dragon was neglected for centuries. Beginning, the derelict world of Arixa, 9 hung in the silence of the outer rim, like a wound that refused to heal. Long ago, it had been heart of the Dravonic Empire, where living warships, dragons of bioengineered origin, had ruled the skies. Their scales were alloyed with starlight and blood-forged iron, and their minds had been melded with alien generals who commanded galactic wars from their backs. But that was 312 standard years ago. Now, Arixa 9 was a graveyard. Its once luminous towers were consumed by rust, its seas blackened by the remains of oil and plasma runoff. The only thing that moved beneath its shattered moons was the wind, until the salvage ship Ravenstar entered orbit. Inside the vessel, Captain Marquez, a human scavenger and former combat engineer, scanned the desolate surface with cautious interest. She'd heard the rumors that Arixa 9 still held a relic of the old empire, something worth more than any planet's ransom. Her scanner chimed softly. Massive biosignature detected. Her AI companion reported. Buried under sector Delta 9. Energy faint but persistent. Mara leaned forward. A living signal? After 3 centuries? Not alive in the traditional sense, the AI replied. Dormant, possibly in stasis. Her heart quickened. Lock coordinates. We're going down. Within the hour, the Ravenstar landed in a canyon of blackened bones and twisted metal. The wind screamed through the ancient wreckage, carrying whispers of the wars that had ended civilizations. Mara stepped into the dust, her boots crunching over layers of glass soil. Her team of 3 followed, 2 humans and a 4-armed Voran named Tak. They carried excavation equipment, plasma torches, and ion shields. The scanner pulsed stronger as they approached the collapsed fortress, its gates half buried in obsidian ash. This is it, Mara said, her voice hushed. Dravonic biowar chamber. Taka's antennae twitched. You think one of the war beasts survived this long? Not survived, she said. Endured. They worked for hours, clearing debris until the dull curve of metal emerged. No, not metal. Scale, massive, ridged, and discolored by centuries of dry blood. When the first full plate was revealed, Mara realized she was staring at something monumental. A dragon, its body half fused with the ruined walls, wings crumpled, head bowed against the ground. A Dravonic war dragon, forgotten and abandoned. The creature's once silver scales were blackened with coagulated blood. Dried rivulets streaked its chest and talons, and ancient chains bound its limbs to the foundation. A single crimson eye flickered faintly, like a dying ember refusing to go out. Holy void, whispered one of the crew. Mara approached slowly, her breath fogging her visor. This thing's enormous. 20 meters long, at least. Energy readings? Minimal, the AI said. Neural patterns degraded, but not gone. Mara pressed her hand to the cold surface of the dragon's jaw. You've been alone here for centuries, covered in your own blood. And for the first time, she thought she heard something in return. A deep, fractured voice echoing in her mind. Leave me. She stumbled back, heart pounding. It's alive. Middle. They set up a field generator around the dragon's resting place, pumping energy into the ancient neural conduits. Slowly, light pulsed beneath the scales, like veins reigniting after a long sleep. The creature twitched, its claws scraping against the stone. Tak stared in awe. By the moons, it's regenerating. The dragon's eye flickered open fully, burning crimson, with layers of circuitry woven into the organic iris. When it spoke, its voice vibrated through the air like distant thunder. Who awakens the war beast VORDL of the Dravonic legions? Mara took a step forward. I'm Captain Marquez. Human. Salvager. The dragon's head tilted. Human. The species that fought beneath the Dravonic banner and perished. We survived, Mara said. Barely. Vortal's lip curled in something between disdain and pain. Survival is not life. He shifted, the chains groaning. Why do you disturb the ashes of my kind? Because I need to know what happened here, Mara said softly. And maybe because I wanted to help. Vortal laughed, a sound like crumbling stone. Help? You cannot help a relic of war. My creators abandoned me when the war ended. My blood dried upon my scales. My breath was spent on 1,000 battlefields, until silence became my only companion. His head lowered again. Centuries, and no one came. Mara felt something twist in her chest. You don't deserve to be forgotten like this. Vortal's gaze fixed on her. Why do you care, fleshling? Is it pity? She shook her head. No, I know what it's like to be left behind. He said nothing for a long time. Then, with a low rumble, if you truly wish to help, unbind me. Her team hesitated. Captain, Tak warned, that's not wise. You saw the old records. These things destroy planets. I'm aware, Mara said, gripping the plasma cutter. But if he wanted to kill us, he already would have. With deliberate care, she sliced through the first chain. Sparks hissed against ancient metal. One by one, she freed the dragon from his prison. When the last restraint fell, Vortal stretched for the first time in centuries. His wings cracked open like mountains shifting, dust cascading from his body. The entire canyon shook. Freedom, he whispered, after so long. But then his expression darkened. Where are my kin? Gone, Mara said softly. The Dravonic Empire fell. The war ended. You're the last. The silence that followed was immense. Vortal lowered his head again, eyes dimming. Then I am truly alone. Mara swallowed hard. Not anymore. Over the following days, she and her crew tended to him, cleansing the dried blood from his scales, repairing the neural grafts that linked his mind to his body. They discovered that his wounds were not merely physical. Deep in his core, his bioengineer heart had been sabotaged centuries ago, likely to ensure he could never rise again. Mara worked tirelessly, merging her ship's nanotech systems with his failing ones. In that time, she learned more about him. Vortal had once been the flagship dragon of the Dravonic Prince Kaler, a warrior who commanded entire fleets through telepathic bonds. But during the Empire's collapse, Kaler had fallen, and Vortal had refused to fight without him. The Dravonic leaders, in rage, had chained him to Arixa, 9 as punishment for loyalty. I was left to rot for love of my rider, he said bitterly. And when my blood dried, I wished for death. Mara placed a hand on his scarred muzzle. And yet you lived. He looked down at her. Why? Maybe because you were meant to wake up again. Something changed after that. The dragon began to heal faster. His scales regained faint silver gleams. His wings regained shape. And for the first time in centuries, Vortal lifted his head to the stars. But the galaxy had changed. One night, the Raven Star detected an incoming signal. A fleet approaching Arixa 9. Their signature was unmistakable. The Dominion of Rax, the modern inheritors of the Dravonic Empire's weapons. They had detected Vortal's reactivation. They're here to claim him, Tok said grimly. They won't let a war dragon fall into scavenger hands. Mara clenched her fists. We're not handing him over. Vortal's eyes glowed red again. Then we fight. The climax. The Dominion fleet descended from orbit. Dozens of warships armed with ion cannons and plasma lances. Against them, the Raven Star was a fragile insect. But Vortal, even weakened, was still a weapon of gods. Mara stood on the cliff beside him, suit glowing under his radiant energy. You can't do this alone, she said. Vortal lowered his head. Then bind with me. What? The Dravonic bond. You will see through my eyes, feel through my breath. Together, we can fight as one, as I once fought with Kaler. Mara hesitated for a heartbeat, then nodded. She stepped forward as his forehead opened, revealing a neural interface socket. The moment she connected her suit, her mind exploded into starlight. She could feel his wings, his rage, his pain, his centuries of silence. And beneath it all, his longing for purpose. Ready? He asked in her mind. She smiled. Let's show them what they left behind. Vortal roared and the ground cracked. His wings flared open, scattering dust and fire as he launched into the sky. The fleet above opened fire, but his scales deflected the first barrage, sending plasma bolts ricocheting into the clouds. He dived the formation, unleashing a torrent of white fire. One cruiser disintegrated instantly. Mara guided his movements, channeling her tactical expertise through his instincts. They became one consciousness, a dragon with a human's precision and a god's fury. The Dominion commander's voice crackled through the comms. That creature is forbidden. Destroy it. Vortal snarled. You dare command the blood of the Dravonic line? Missiles streaked toward him, but Mara redirected energy from his heart core, unleashing a shockwave that vaporized him midair. Together, they cut through the fleet, ship by ship, until the void burned red with wreckage. But the effort drained him. His chest wounds reopened, plasma leaking like molten blood. Mara, his voice trembled. My strength fades. She gritted her teeth. We're not done yet. They pushed toward the command ship, the flagship of the Dominion. With one final surge, Vortal impaled it through the center with his talons, ripping through armor like cloth. The explosion illuminated Arixa 9 sky for the first time in centuries. When the dust cleared, only Vortal and the Raven Star remained. He descended slowly, wings tattered, breathing heavily. Mara disconnected and stumbled onto ground, helmet cracked, lungs aching. Vortal collapsed beside her. His scales dimmed again. My time is short. She ran to him, pressing her hand to his snout. No, you're free now. You don't have to die. He smiled weakly. Freedom is enough. I have seen the stars again through your eyes. Tears streaked her face. There has to be a way. He interrupted softly. When they chained me, I cursed the universe. I thought I was forgotten. But you reminded me that even bloodstained relics can still protect. His eyes closed. Thank you. Mara kissed the humans. And with a final exhale, the great dragon's chest stilled. Ending. For days, Mara remained by his side as the ashes of battle settled around them. The galaxy would soon hear what had happened on Arixa 9, a human salvager who awakened forgotten god of war, and a dragon who died fighting to protect the living once more. She buried him beneath the black sands, beneath the stars he had once flown across. His body hardened into silver stone, and the dried blood that had once covered him turned to dust, scattering across the wind. Tok approached quietly. The fleet's gone. No one's coming for us. Mara nodded. Good. Let the galaxy forget again. Before leaving, she planted a beacon on the burial mound, A signal coded with one message only. Here lies Vortal, last of the Dravonic war dragons. He was covered in dried blood, neglected for centuries, but he rose again. As the Raven Star lifted off, Mar looked back one last time. The mound shimmered faintly, as if something beneath still dreamed. And far beyond Arixa 9, in the endless dark of the void, the stars pulsed once, softly, like the beat of a sleeping heart.